and if it was clear, we could have seen Mount Fuji for the first time. However, it was cloudy, raining, and the first bit we saw of Japan was the airport. We booked our seat on the right side of the car, as this would be the side that would see Mount Fuji on our trip to Osaka, were it not raining. I kept filming knowing that our ride up to Tokyo we would get another chance to see Mount Fuji. And all we got was cloud. Behind the haze of the Kanto region lay the still ever elusive Mount Fuji. So our hotel grows its own veg, which is pretty neat. Well, good morning Internet. You find us here today now in Odawara, which is south of Tokyo, specifically because we need to catch the Hakone Tozen line to take us to, oddly enough, Hakone, where we will be spending the day jetting about on a lake, seeing Mount Fuji, hopefully, and then the evening, this is a nice bit, the evening at the Hakone Yuryo Onsen. Setting off from Odawara Station, the Hakone Tozen line is actually comprised of two railways that meet each other at Hakone Yumoto. After leaving Yumoto, the railway begins its climb into the hills, stopping at Tonosawa, which we will visit in part 2. To gain altitude and save on track length, the railway enters 3 switchback stations where the train pulls in on one line and then reverses out of the other. It then meanders its way slowly up the valley, passing the litany of hot spring resorts that Hakone is so famous for, before eventually arriving at Gora Station, where we will switch to an incline cable car. Taking a little over 40 minutes to travel the 15-kilometre length of its track, the Hakone Tozen line began operating in 1919, replacing the then horse-drawn railway that had been in operation since 1888, much I imagine to the horse's relief. The modern line's terminus of Gora Station was then later opened in 1930. Being a mountain railway, each train can climb 1 metre of altitude for every 12.5 metres of horizontal travel, with a maximum gradient of 8%. Some of that being within the 13 tunnels along its length. And in its 100 or so years of operation, not a single tunnel has required repairs following an earthquake. Because when you're boring holes through mountains that are geologically active, you build it to take a shaking. Well, we've made it to Gora. And now we are queuing for the cable car to take us to the ropeway. All the modes of transport today. Ropeway complete. Now it's time to queue for cable car. The gondola runs from Sowunzan Station to the top of Mount Hakone and the Owakodani volcanic valley before descending to Togendai Station on the shore of Lake Ashai. As we ascend to the top of Mount Hakone, we are treated to breathtaking views of the surrounding landscape, with the highest point of the ride promising views of Mount Fuji on a clear day. And after multiple opportunities to see Mount Fuji, today was our last day to see it before we left Japan. And boy did it deliver. There's another reason that we have stopped at this particular station, and that is because of this view. There she blows. There is Mount Fuji. After I had finished having what could only be described as a bit of a moment, I remembered there was something else about Owakudani that was important. We've stopped halfway along the ropeway at Owakudani station on the top of the mountain for this view. The geothermal valley provides hot spring water to Hakone. Formed by a volcanic eruption 3,000 years ago, the smouldering valley beneath not being evidence enough, we were soon reminded by the local signage that Japan, whilst being a beautiful country with equally spectacular scenery, is also capable of being exceedingly deadly, with emergency supplies and protective gear ready for us unsuspecting tourists who'd willingly climbed to the top of an active volcano just for a pretty view of a different active volcano. The ride down to Togendai Station treated us to more views of the slowly disappearing behind the hills Mount Fuji, while we prepared for our fourth mode of transport for the day, a pirate ship. Well, queuing again. Also, we can get on this. Welcome to the aft deck of the HMS Victory. Yeah, you heard that right, the HMS Victory. I think it is.
I don't think it is because it's not.
Alright, fine.
In service.
Alright, never mind. Scratch that. Lauren corrected me. Anyway, welcome aboard the Victory. Yeah, the Victory is in Lord Nelson's first-rate ship of the line on Lake Hashay in Japan. It's also known as the Hakone Sightseeing Cruise. The Victory is one of 3 pirate ships that operates on the lake, ferrying prospective scurvy dogs, I mean tourists, between 3 ports at either end of the lake. Being a faithful recreation of the original, this Victory had all of the period-accurate technology of the time, like naval radar, a diesel engine, digital maps, and even a lift between decks. Despite the gathering haze in the afternoon sun, we were still able to oogle at Mount Fuji from our naval observatory. Despite being 30 or so kilometres away, the 3,776 metre high mountain still manages to dominate the skyline. As we approached the Instagram famous Heiwa no Tori of the Hakone Shrine on our way to our second port stop of Moto Hakone, we encountered ours, and I imagine several Instagrammers' naval nemesis. Imagine queuing up for hours to have your picture taken at this Torii gate, only for it to be ruined by a yellow swan boat. With the sun low in the sky, and thanks in part to the unexpected amounts of significant queuing, our time on Lake Hashay was cut short by a mad dash back to the ropeway, so we did not miss the last cable car down to Gora and our train to the onsen. Well, that was a mad-ass dash from the lake back to Gora on the ropeway and cable car because we are getting very close to our onsen time, and yeah, we're now waiting for the train for that, which should be in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to leave it here for today. And well, for this video, not today. There is more to come today, but that will be in part 2. So thank you for watching our adventures so far, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.